Glad you could join us. Now, scientists reveal mosquitoes are becoming resistant to insecticides due to wrong application and misuse of chemicals. It's the outcome of studies into monitoring trends and epidemiology of malaria in Ghana. Now, though malaria has dropped in some parts of Ghana, the malaria control program is still working to provide effective insecticides for rural communities.
It is exactly 5:34 p.m. and Joseph Nwenekubu is here at the Agamal Malaria Control Laboratory to monitor development stages of mosquitoes.
The lab goes through 4 stages.
This is where mosquitoes are kept for malaria testing.
This is the lab. The lab goes through 4 stages in water. You have the first instar, second instar, third instar, and the fourth instar stage. Then after the fourth instar, they develop into pupae. It's the comma shift. This is what you see here. That's the comma shift.
Adult mosquitoes are transferred and trapped in another room. It is the final stage where mosquitoes are tested to ascertain whether they have malaria-causing parasite or not. Paul Osei-Bonsu is the entomology laboratory technologist.
The results we are having shows us that our operation, which is the indoor residual spraying, is making impact. One other key thing we use to determine is the ELISAs, the enzyme-linked immunosorbent assay. That one, it helps us to know exactly because we test to see whether there's presence or absence of parasites in the mosquito. And once we are having more negative test results, that means there are no parasite present in the mosquito. It tells us that we are really wiping the adult mosquitoes. And so mosquitoes are not living long enough to pick parasites from human beings and transmit. When we began initially, we had a lot of positives that showed presence of parasites in the population.
It raises questions about what households do to maintain a good mosquito-resistant environment when malaria infection goes down. Studies by Agamal Malaria Control reveal mosquitoes are developing resistance to chemicals.
The mosquitoes built up a resistance, quite a resistance to the old one. And so we needed an insecticide with a new mode of action that can kill the mosquitoes. You know, it's just like when you walk and fall in a pothole. Tomorrow, when you get to that same area, you try to dodge the pothole. That's what the mosquitoes have done with the old insecticide.
Continued resistance may lead to more complex challenges as the National Malaria Control Program seeks to vary recommended chemicals. Dr. Jezia Mam is program director.
The reason why we need to continue working is that the mosquitoes continue to breed, and we haven't been able to clear all the breeding sites. If you look at where we are, there are a lot of pits from the Galamsey operations, and they act as breeding sites for mosquitoes. So as you clear the adult mosquitoes, the younger ones keep coming up. Even until we are able to clear all the breeding sites, we need to take care of those who are alive now and make sure that they don't get malaria. We had an insecticide that we were using for spraying, and in Obuasi and some parts of the country, we realized they were resistant. That's why this year we introduce a new one, which is working. It's able to kill the mosquitoes to replace the one that was resistant in this town.
Many communities in Ghana are benefiting from mass spraying of the new chemical, Summershield 50WG. Mary Ochri is one of the beneficiaries. Mahmoud Mohammed Nuruddin reporting.
Let's move on now. And the Ghana Registered Nurses and Midwives Association says government must review the Heal Ghana module of the Nation Builders Corps. The association made the call as they joined trainee nurses on a protest march in Accra earlier today. Hundreds of trainee nurses and midwives took to the streets to demand employment and also for government to scrap the Heal Ghana module prioritized under the Nation Builders Corps.
Excellency, the President promised to give us permanent jobs after he had the opportunity to become the President of the Republic. The leadership made a courtesy call to him we met at the Flagstaff House on the 27th of September 2017 to discuss with him and present to him the challenges affecting health workers and trainee nurses and midwives across the country, of which our major concern has to do with issues of unemployment. His Excellency the President assured us that he was ready to address our challenges. We made it known to him that we had some of our colleagues who completed school since 2012, some completed since 2016, and they are still in the house. He made it known to the Deputy Minister, the Minister for Health, Honorable Kwaku Ajimamenu, that he should ensure that these professionals are employed at the end of the day. Kwaku Ajimamenu by then made it known to His Excellency the President that the 2017 budget had been exhausted, and so immediately the 2018 budget is read to Parliament. These professionals will be employed. It was up to February, no employment, no information from the ministry. We made several follow-ups to understand that we had no option than to organize a major picketing at the ministry. The Deputy Minister for Health, Honorable Tina Mensah, came out boldly and made it known to us that by the end of March, clearance will be out for everybody to start work. It is surprising to hear that His Excellency the President launched a program called NAPCO, of which he is trying to put all health workers and nurses in the Hill model Ghana, in the Hill Ghana model. And so it is a policy we think it is not good for professionals. They are unfair to we as nurses. And we think that government should come out with our clearance and then we'll start permanent work, but not a Hill Ghana model. Should government fails, we are assuring the ministry that in 2 weeks' time, we'll be back to the ministry to make sure we pick it to ensure that the right thing is done at the right time.
We have a profession to protect. We have the professional, as the nurse and the midwife, to protect. We have a patient to protect. So the safety of all these three entities that we're talking about here. And I think that a well-motivated nurse, somebody who will have the feeling, you know, a selfless feeling and single-minded devotion to take care of a patient in his child. We're not asking for anything beyond what the practicing nurse or the midwife today is having. We're asking for exactly what the practicing nurse or the midwife today is taking home. Salary, conditions of service, allowances at the job place, nothing more.
Glad you stayed with us. This is Joy News Today. Now, how would you fend for yourself as a university graduate if your mother, your father, and your 3 siblings survived on 1,000 cedi monthly salary? In our survival series of stories this week, following the lives of Ghanaians surviving on salaries that are below their cost of living, my colleague Justice Beidou shares the story of Fife's son, a graduate of the University of Cape Coast.
On the outskirts of one of Kasua's sprawling neighborhoods, a young man is hard at work. Fife's son left the University of Cape Coast 4 years ago and has since not landed a permanent job. This is the second remedial school he teaches in on part-time, earning roughly 1,000 cedis for both at the end of the month.
When I was in school, actually, I thought of completing my master's program latest by 2018 or 2019. I should be able to complete my master's program, but here I am. I've not even started. Because my goals were really to make master's degree, and then after that, maybe settle down, get a family, build your own house, and then take good care of your external family too, and then you look at furthering for the PhD.
Fifi is one scene out of a bigger story. 5 out of every 10 young Ghanaians do not have a job, according to a recent World Bank study. Many of those who do earn less than what they actually spend. It is figures like these that scare even the SHS leavers Fifi is teaching, who themselves have tried but failed to make the cut for tertiary education. Amongst them, there's 20-year-old Selina Anani, who works as a sales girl earning 250 cedis a month.
200 cedis money. In the morning when I wake up, tea takes part. When I take 100 cedis to work daily, I buy food. Morning, you drink water. You might even buy credit because you might call friends, ask for updates of in educational levels, what was taught yesterday, you weren't able to go for class. So after all this, you'll be left with nothing at the end of the day, and 10 cedis to the end of the month. In fact, you'll be left with nothing.
Back in Fifi's home, the people who live on his toil, his mother, father, his terminally ill senior brother, and 2 junior siblings.
I'm 28 going to 29, 30, so I should be thinking about having a place, let's say, a really well-staffed room with several things that can prepare me to settle with a woman and think of making a family. As of now, I don't have that. The quality of the food I eat is even not up there. The kind of money I'm to give my parents is not enough and all that. And like I said, there are other siblings who are taking after me, who expect me to give them something time and time again. I'm not able to do all those things. And so it has a negative impact, actually.
Like Fifi, thousands, possibly millions of other Ghanaians are struggling to eke out a living, barely hanging on the edge. Justice Baby, Joy News, Kaswa.
Now, moving on, government promised in its 2016 manifesto to, among other things, increase the District Assembly's Common Fund for persons with disability from 2% to 3%. Yet it has been done, but at a cost. Now, persons under 18 and persons above 60 are exempted from benefiting, something that has put untold hardship on the disabled community. Today on Joy News Agenda, we wear the lens of a 60-year-old disabled woman on how she and some members feel about the performance of the Akufo-Addo government. Nancy Emefa-Dwadosi reports.
I am meeting 60-year-old Catherine Chagley. Catherine is a physically challenged entrepreneur and currently the president of the women's wing of the Ghana Society of the Physically Disabled. Attaining this feat did not come on a silver platter.
I always give the thanks to my mom of blessed memory. She was able to educate me, though she was not educated. But she told me that the only legacy she can leave for me is education.
Discrimination is a fact of life for many disabled persons, but Catherine never really gave much thought to it growing up in Ghana. It is for this reason that the NPP government led by Nana Addo Dankwa Akufo-Addo promised to create a society of fair opportunities for all Ghanaians. This included increasing the District Assembly's Common Fund that has been allocated to persons with disability from 2% to 3%.
As a government, we have increased the amount of the District Assembly Common Fund that is being allocated to persons with disabilities from 2% to 3%.
At what cost? Catherine says the new guidelines for its distribution exempt majority of them from benefiting and bringing untold hardship to her and the others.
Even the common fund which they are promising, they are increasing it. They are now saying they want to take some people out of it.
So what's the criteria? What's going to be?
What we heard was the lady in charge says children from 1 year to 17, they shouldn't benefit. And from 18 to 59, because it says those above 60 shouldn't benefit. And I said, is it a work where we are going on pension? Now they are taking some people out of it. How are we going to survive?
In the 2016 manifesto of the NPP, they were promised equal employment opportunities. Indeed, President Akufo-Addo in February this year said his government had ensured that 50% of toll booth collectors were people with disabilities. Catherine, however, is disappointed.
A lot of them are there waiting for employment. How can somebody complete university and you give that person a toll booth? They haven't done anything.
She narrates a story of how one disabled boy was denied admission to a senior high school, even though this very government, before attaining power, had promised an all-inclusive education.
Immediately the headmaster said, oh, no. As for this boy, I can't admit him. No, he's a disabled. We don't have any facility here for persons living with disability. Hey. The toilets, they squat, and the boy cannot squat. So we have to contact a carpenter to make a box for us. So we did all those things just to support the boy and sent it to the school.
Now, the UN Convention on Disability enables persons with disability to live independently and participate fully in all aspects of life. Equal access to physical environment, to information and communications, especially transportation. This is the very convention the NPP in its manifesto promised to amend the Disability Act 2006 to fit. Catherine does not recall the last time she boarded a public transport because it's just not accessible.
Somebody will take a trotro from here to Accra, maybe 3 cedis. Actually, I don't know how much they collect, but let's take it for 3 cedis. And I will take a taxi here to Accra, and they will collect either 30 cedis or 40 cedis. Any government that is coming will give a promise. I will provide an accessible bus, I will do this and that, but it never comes.
She doubts government can amend the Disability Act to make it conform with the UN Convention on Disability.
Whenever there is anything, it is the government, Ghana government comes out first to ratify it, but no implementation. We have a lot of rights, but nothing has been implemented.
She believes a day will come when persons with disability will have access to all the resources and opportunities. That day, she believes, will come after she is no more.
By the time things comes to the best, that will be after some of us are dead and gone.
It might be early days yet to demand results, but the people living with disabilities can no longer wait for government to fulfill the many promises aimed at making life better for them. Nancy Emefa Jadosi, Joy News.
Still watching Joy News today. I am Daniel Dazi. Stories gone by so far. Registered Nurses and Midwives Association calls on governments to review the Heal Ghana module of the Nation Builders Corps as they join trainee nurses on protest march. In our latest Survivor series, we also told you about the University of Cape Coast graduate who is living on 1,000 Ghana cedis a month to cater for his entire family of 6, which includes mother and a father. And still to come, residents of Santana here in Accra demand a closure of gas filling station sited close to their homes following a dawn explosion, which has left 3 people battling for their lives at the 37 Military Hospital. The Association of Road Contractors also says government owes them about 1.6 billion Ghana cedis for road maintenance works they have executed. They demand payment. We'll tell you more. Stay with us. This is Joy News Today. Thanks for staying with us. Now, 3 people are battling for their lives at the 37 military hospital after an explosion at the Ammo gas filling station this dawn at Santana, an area close to Tesano in Accra. Some of the residents Joy News spoke to said they were unable to sleep after 12 a.m. as the explosion shook their buildings, causing them to run for their lives. The residents are demanding the closure of the gas station. They say they are trapped between another gas station, a fuel station, and a company that uses industrial gas cylinders. Maxwell Agbagba visited the area and made these observations.
I'm currently here at Gas where the incident happened. Currently, there are about 5 workers going about their normal duties, but they are not open for business today, as some of the workers we've been speaking to say they are visibly shaken by the incident that happened yesterday. Well, some of the residents have also gathered in front of this gas filling station demanding its closure. I've been interacting with one of them, Victor Morde, who says he's terrified.
We are surrounded by 2 warders. Okay, one is a company who uses these big cylinders to ward. Okay, and the second one also is surrounded by 2 big LPG filling station and also a petroleum filling station. Do you get it? Now the very danger is they employ under 20 years people to work in this area, which is very bad. Unskilled personnel, which is very bad. Do you get it? Now when the incident happened, they took over their house. It took one man who helped us. By now, Gagano be in danger right now. I was sleeping around 11:30 to 12 when I heard a great sound, two times, boom, boom. Then all of a sudden, the began shook. Do you understand it? Then I thought it was a normal, maybe accident or something. Before I came out, I saw lighting in the sky. Then I also took over my house. Then I just fell down. I got hurt. That's how it happened. I'm calling off there. We're calling upon the energy minister and also the agencies who are based on this to help us close this down totally. That's what we need.
Well, for us to have a better appreciation of the issues, these 2 gentlemen have actually agreed to take us to the rooftop of a building here, just so we understand how they are trapped between 2 filling stations. Well, one is actually a fuel filling station, and that is about 50 meters away. They actually share boundaries or wall with Ammo Gas, where the incident happened, yesterday. That is the Total filling station. Now, about 50 meters or 100 meters away is another gas filling station just around, this area, just within this enclave. Now, also sharing boundaries with the Ammo Gas, where the incident happened yesterday, is another company. Residents are saying that they actually use industrial gas cylinders here. Now, very close to Ammo Gas once again is also a mechanic shop here, but officials of the Ghana National Fire Service have told the residents not to light any flame. We've been speaking to the assemblyman for the Abelemkpe Tessan electoral area last night.
Now, moving on, the Association of Road Contractors says government owes road contractors about 1.6 billion Ghana cedis for road maintenance works they have executed. They attribute this to the award of enhanced projects by government in 2016. National Chairman of the Association, Daniel Ato Agro, made the disclosure during the swearing-in of regional executives of the association in Accra.
Some 10 regional executives were sworn in to take up various roles as leaders of the Association of Road Contractors in their respective regions. The newly sworn-in Greater Accra Regional Chairman, Stephen Natachi, urged the new leadership to work hard and build a stronger and reliable association.
The issue is commitment to the association. It's very difficult leading contractors. I think it's the most difficult job you can find. But with perseverance and honesty and dedication, you should be able to lift the flag high.
The national chairman of the association, Daniel Ato Agro, said road contractors are partners in development and implored government to be committed in providing the needed funds to execute projects.
Government is there major clients for we, the road contractors in Ghana. We don't do private jobs, private road construction. Everything is road. And the major problem in Ghana is road maintenance. Everybody is crying around the country about road maintenance. And such projects has to be undertaken by we, the contractor. But then the government is owing us so much in all the sectors, from cocoa roads, GOG, to the road fund. No bank is ready to even look at the contractor's documents.
He advised the citizenry against constructing illegal ramps on the roads in the bid to avert road accidents. Mr. Atachi explained these illegalities often rather tend to destroy the roads and thereby cutting short their lifespan. A project transformation funding service was introduced to members of the association to enable them have easy access to funds to complete their projects. Kafui Amegan is the CEO of Eclipse Collateral and Advisory Services.
What we are trying to do is to pull in a lot of funds into the country to come and help businesses and even to help government stabilize the economy. So if you have a project that is less than 1 million, what we preach for is that we will put project owners together, about 2-3 projects together to get to the minimum, and then we'll be able to package that minimum and be able to get the funding to come in.
Let's stay with this issue a bit further because the contractors say their members are dying from their inability to manage the pressure arising from non-payments by government. This, they explain, is also to blame for the poor quality of roads seen across the country. They were in on News Desk this morning.
It's unfortunate that our roads are so bad within the first 2 rains. That shows the level of efficiency in the road construction industry. You know, road construction is a procedure. So if you fail to follow the procedure in the input, the output will become the same thing. You start the project, and according to the agreement, you are supposed to have been paid every 90 days by government or the agency that gives you the project. But when it takes a year for you to be even paid, so what happens? Meanwhile, the bank is not ready to give you additional loans to continue sinking the project, so the project comes to a stop. Meanwhile, road construction is not like building, where when you close down the place, nobody uses it. But the road construction, you work to a certain level. Let's say the first level, that's before you prime, you put the base material, and then you leave it for 7-8 months. You have not been there, while motor cars are using the road, and the fine material is being destroyed, and then you are paid, and you go back. The natural thing is for additional material to be placed, but because most of our people know that they're not going to be paid for it, they try to at least do something to improve the quality of the road, but then it can never be 100% again.
In the construction business or industry, we are all mature people. We cannot just join and say we are causing demonstration, we are doing that. You know, I think that is not the issue. Look, people are dying, as I'm saying now. One of our regional chairman, that's the Upper East, is in the fridge now, 2 weeks ago.
And you can closely relate it or link it to the issue of
so a lot of our members are, stroke patients now. So in fact, we are appealing that they should give a priority to this issue.
Now, Rita Kirba, a person living with disability, has vowed to use all channels available to her to seek redress for what she says is plain discrimination against her. According to Rita, officials of domestic airlines Africa World Airlines prevented her from traveling to Kumasi last Saturday because they say it is against their policy for persons to travel with crutches. Rita Kirba has been speaking to Joy News.
On the 5th of May, I was at a program at GIMPA, that's yearly Young Africa Leaders Initiative. I was supposed to leave to Kumasi for a meeting at 10 o'clock. So I asked for a flight to be booked for me because I can't get there by that time, that 10 o'clock. So I went to the airport. Immediately I entered, they took my passport look into it and asked me whether I can climb the stairs. I told them that yes. They asked me to sit down and that my flight is at 7. I was there when my other colleagues from Yali came and joined me. They were also going to Kumasi. So when it was time for me to board the plane, a lady told me I can't send my crutches inside the plane. I told her I'm a person with disability. You saw me, I use crutches to walk. I can't leave the crutches behind and go. So like I was just trying to explain myself to her. My other colleagues too joined in and was trying to find out what exactly was happening. So when they told them that the aircraft is small and I can't send my crutches inside, so they told them that they should allow me so that they will aid me. Like when after the stairs, they will aid me to my seat and then they can take my crutches and put it wherever they want to keep it.
Now, Dr. Yakubu Akparibo is an aerospace engineer, an aerospace medicine specialist, and a technical advisor at the Bureau of Public Safety. Now, he said the airline did the right thing by stopping the lady from boarding.
A person with disability must inform the airline 48 hours before travel in order for the airline to accommodate for he or she. So maybe Rita did not inform African World Airlines before the flight, and just turning up at the gate and then asking them to accommodate for her. I think the one who prevented her from boarding did the right thing and actually knew his or her job. The implication is that if there is an emergency landing, evacuation procedures, if there's somebody with a disability, getting that person out of the aircraft requires some special procedures, and they normally have to accommodate for that. And the person with disability like Rita cannot sit in any seat in the aircraft. She has to be put in a place that when there's an emergency and they need to disembark the passengers, it will not be a safety issue for the rest of the passengers. So I think next time when she wants to travel, she has to pre-inform the airline. International, when you are checking in online, you get to a stage that they'll ask you, do you need special assistance? You know, it's everywhere, worldwide. So by African World, I'm not sure if they have that. So they too need to also change their check-in procedure.
Still watching Joy News today. I am Daniel Dazi, but Emmanuel Abuajibi is up next with business.